Yo, everybody, welcome to Smash Hour. It's your boy Yin. We've got
Risk Taker, aka David Miller.
Mickey, also known as Eric.
And Zerg, also known
also
as
known as
Zergy
Zerg.
Chan.
Oh,
No way.
I have to have an alter ego now. I'm light.
Yeah, we should all get that.
It's
All
for
right,
real, though.
well, all formalities aside, I think we've got a good episode for you here today. Um, so if you're like any of us, like just going out to tournaments and whatnot, chances are you've probably experienced tournament nerves at some point in your life. I know I have, and I've won my fair share of tournaments. I've done pretty well with my own fair share of majors, but every single time, like you do encounter tournament nerves. So I know everyone has their own specific strategies, just like MK Leo at Scuffed World Tour. If you know what we're talking about, that's really cool.
Right.
If you don't, read into the details. You'll find out on your own. We had a nice lap about that earlier.
We're already bringing that one up.
Side effects may
Yeah, we're already
include
bringing that up.
over relaxation, sickness with Marth.
That Marth set
Number
was
one
cool
in the
though.
world.
Wait, guys, hold up. Is that why Krieg is so good? Is there a secret about Krieg we don't know?
Maybe.
Every Marth player
Oh,
knows
who
the loyal
knows?
way.
Either way, like tournament nerves are there to curse every single run. Like if you've talked to somebody who's went like maybe 2-2 at a major, and like they'll go like 4-2 or do really insanely good at their locals, but when you talk to them, they're like tournament nerves, man. Like we need to solve that problem because that's obviously holding them back from their true potential. So like Risk, I know you like solving tournament nerves by just talking to people. A lot of people find that annoying, but it does calm down the nerves.
Well,
Wait,
Yin,
Chris, do you legit just talk to people during your sets?
yeah,
During the
not during
wait.
the set,
Okay.
sometimes.
well, usually it's not during sets. At majors, I'll constantly just talk to people to keep my mind off, like, what's at stake, basically. Like, it really helps calm me by talking to people, or I'll ask my close buddies in the scene about what I could be doing better. So I feel like if I vocalize it and talk about it, it keeps me from not harboring everything inside and just like
Yeah.
stewing like a pot. So for me, like Sticky already brought up, just kind of vocalizing helps me a lot. Now I know that could be annoying for some people who just want to focus and play, but we all have our
I
own
promise
ways.
it's fine.
I
It's
will
fine.
say, on the topic of like people talking during sets, though, and like that's a legitimate thing. If you don't know, there was a Toon Link player named Affinity who used to be severely active in the Nortos scene, especially CBS
Severely.
and Golden. Yeah, severely active
Severely.
in Golden Spike Smash and CBS. And during sets, during the game, which shout out to them because literally you can just pull off an earphone and just be listening. They would talk themselves through whatever habits you were doing and what they needed to fix. So they'd be like, okay, they're doing this. And they would talk it out loud, which for some people pissed them off. It made them so irritated, so mad, so distracted. But literally, I just started popping my earphone off and I'm like, okay, you think I'm going to do that? Cool.
You just get all the
Not
answers.
happening anymore. Exactly.
You're tapped in.
In a weird way, that's like a double-edged sword, though, since like talking through the habits might help Affinity through their nerves, but like you said, you took your headphone off and can listen to it. But it
Mhm.
could also trigger people, so in a way, Affinity's either getting in the heads of players, doing even better, or basically giving mid-set coaching to their opponent.
You start playing like Tweak, playing the mind games like, oh, this pisses them off. I'm just going to start talking to myself.
Hey, well, don't fix what ain't broke, I guess. Kind of.
I mean,
Is,
fair.
is
Fair.
it broken? That's
I don't know.
debatable. But
They
yeah,
look
like
decent.
a lot of when it comes to a lot of strategies that you find other players and top players using when it comes to like crushing tournament nerves, for lack of better terms, it's basically just trying to remove yourself from the pressures of what you have to accomplish. Like those pressures are obviously still there, but with like Risk was saying, just by talking to other people, for example, it just kind of takes you out of that mindset of like, okay, I got to perform, I've got to do this, I've got to do like there's a billion things you have to do to win. But the thing is, like you just can't think of them. Like they're going to come at their own specific times and you're going to be able to deal with them one by one. But if you keep thinking too far down the line, that just gets your anxiety up and then thus tournament nerves. So I think a lot of the strategies are based around removing yourself from that. Like for me, as an example, a way I like to deal with tournament nerves is literally just think about the game itself rather than what I have to do. So that one accomplishes the fact that I don't have to think about, okay, what I'm going to do, and I give my mind something else to think about. I think about the game. I think about, okay, what can happen in this interaction? I start to theory craft, and it does two things. It gets my mind off the tournament nerves, and it gets my mind onto thinking about, okay, I need to solve these problems one by one, because that's eventually what's going to happen. Like there's not there you can argue that you'll have to solve multiple problems at the same time, but the chances are it's only one by one, and you'll be able to account for that, which is really nice. So like just being able to think about the game for me allows me to start thinking, get myself into that mindset of, okay, I'm just going to be starting thinking about these problems, and then it goes from there. And then once I play my round one, I don't have nerves. And even once I get into grand finals, I don't exactly have nerves unless losers finals is really bad or winners finals is really bad.
Yeah. Something that I really wanted to bring up first, before we dive too deep into the topic of tournament nerves. I've looked into a lot of like sports psychology stuff to help me, get an edge in Smash and other games as well. And something that you'll hear a lot about how professional athletes deal with anxiety over performing is that a strategy those is they'll tell themselves, "I'm not anxious, I'm excited." Because your body, like chemically speaking, I'm not a sports psychologist by any means, but like
It's the same
it's the same thing.
chemical.
Yeah, it's the same. It's adrenaline. It's just the context about how you characterize it to yourself determines a little bit about how your natural reaction is to it. So getting excited about a match is totally fine. I don't think anyone will say that's a bad thing, but getting anxious about it for some reason that's an issue.
Well, the reason being, because if you look at that top level player or like even PR player, a big difference is confidence in scenario. And so something that I went over a lot with Melodic and Oa was if you're going to go into a situation, you have to just understand you've been here before, trust. And that confidence changes a lot. Where in a scenario where you might go for a combo where you aren't 100% sure you know how to do it, if you start doubting, you second guess and you miss that frame input. Meanwhile, if you're just confident in it, you're willing to pull the trigger on that kill move. And that's a big difference in execution. And that's why you see players hit the lab over and over. Go through the scenario. That way they know exactly what they want to do in that situation because that gives them the confidence not only to know what they're going to do, because a lot of the times you'll know, but so you don't second guess. And so you immediately pull the trigger.
That makes
Yeah.
me think about something I went through kind of recently that honestly Sticky here helped me with. So I went to a local here in Indiana, and it was a unique thing since I was the first seed for the tournament, and they had another top three player in Indy there. And I actually in winter finals I got 3-0. Like it was pretty bad. And then in grand finals I fell down 0-2. But I remember glancing at my phone and actually had a text from Sticky and Apple, and both of them were like, "You're better than this. Like, just win." Basically, basically what they were telling me, and it was just that knowing that my friends in the scene, or just knowing like, yeah, I am better. I should have that confidence. I should stop playing so scared. I've been here before. I've done this, and it made all the difference. I ended up reverse 3-0 in grands and then winning the reset. Uh, but it's kind of what you said, that confidence. If you don't have confidence, I think you can let those nerves overtake you, and then you can just spiral out of control. And players need to find a way to remind themselves of that. Just because maybe one interaction doesn't go your way or you drop one combo, like usually you have a set. Like you can always change things around. And at the end of the day, if the nerves are getting your way, you got to find some way to regain that confidence and quell it.
Absolutely. Like I hate to be that guy, but I've seen many runs that have fallen to me. Like I can recount at least 3 separate times where players were making runs against me, like they were about to take the set against me, but I just saw their nerves getting to them, and I was like, I won. Like just like
Yeah.
that, I won. And like like to see that on the other side. Like I've been on the other side of that plenty of times, but to be on the other side of that, like having tournament nerfs sometimes is really devastating because all of a sudden, like imagine your character just all of a sudden got nerfed to the point where you don't have your kill confirms, you no longer have good combos, you no longer have good reads. Like just like that, you lost so many vital aspects of your gameplay just by virtue of yourself having tournament nerves. Like straight up, I was at 90%. It was game 3 in a set. I was at 97% last stock. The other guy, I won't disclose the name. Just be aware. He was at like 10%, and I won that game just because he was like, "Oh my god, I'm about to beat a good player." And then I just said, "Oh, you now have nerves. You no longer have kill confirms." And I all of a sudden started going for way more risky options, just because I knew you're gonna mess them up. Like, and to have your opponent be able to go for more risky options without having that fear, like it's a nightmare to deal with because all of a sudden you now have to play better than you might normally would, and especially like with tournament nerves holding you back, it's devastating. Like it truly does paralyze your gameplay. So like
Yeah.
it, I can't really stress enough. Like tournament nerves are just basically in-game nerfs to your character because you lose everything. And yeah, I'm sounding like a broken record here, and I hate to sound like a broken record on a podcast, but yeah.
Everywhere
I don't know
else,
if you
he's
guys have
glad to
anything.
do it.
I don't know if you guys have anything else to add on to that because I can't rack
Yeah.
my brain for anything.
No, what I notice a lot at locals, and maybe you guys will maybe notice this as well. People when they get their first PR win, immediately after that, they're doing much better.
Mm.
Like I remember that I got super close to getting PR wins for such a long time, and then I was losing. It was like Steve was out for a while, so like people knew the matchup a little bit, maybe not as much as they could have, but I was like losing to all of our PR players. And then one day I got lucky. I beat Valor, whatever. It was my first PR win was Valor, who's a Sonic Inkling player in Utah, very talented. And immediately after that, I beat Splash Daddy, who was like number 6 or 7 at the time, who I've never beaten before, the next match. And then all throughout that week and just on and on, I realized like it's possible. Like I can beat PR players. I've done this before. You know, that's it's just what Risk was saying when he got the text in Grand Finals. Like you've won tournaments, you've beaten this guy, and taking confidence in your experience is I would kind of sort of tying like all the points together because Ian also mentioned like when you're just talking to people about um you have to have everything, you have to have your kill confirms down, you have to know you're doing. You have to take confidence in your experience before, both in terms of your accomplishments as well as just your practice. I know that like when I practice my kill confirms a lot in bracket, I don't have to doubt myself like I don't know if I'm gonna hit this nil combo, I don't know if I'm gonna do this. I just do it without thinking. And I think that's a hidden benefit to practice that not a lot of people really account for. It does a lot for your mentality. It's not just execution. You are a lot more
Well,
confident in yourself when you practice your stuff.
I
and
think
that's
like part of that.
another
Go ahead.
that's another importance. Like when people talk about sticking with one character for a long term, they talk about learning the game. When like in reality, you are learning the aspects of the game from that character.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to learn the most of the game is from switching characters. So what you're actually gaining by sticking with one character is the confidence and understanding and the comfortability in that character. And the more comfortable and more confident you're in a scenario, the more likely you are to choose the right options. Even if you know the right option with like say you're playing Steve and you switch to Cloud. Even if you know the right option for Cloud, like all right, I need to stall with side B here. You're a lot less likely to pull the trigger because you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel confident, and that's what you gain from long term sticking with a character.
Yeah, like I feel like that kind of goes back to the idea. Like there's another point in psychology that's like system 1 thinking and system 2 thinking. System 1 thinking is stuff that's like natural, you know it right away. Like take for example, oh, I forget the exact wording of the problem, but it was you have a ball and a baseball bat. the baseball bat or the ball or the baseball bat costs $1 more than the baseball, and they both cost 110 cents or 110 cents, $1.10 together. How much do each cost? And so, like from that information, a lot of like even Harvard graduates said that the baseball costs 10 cents and the bat costs $1. I mean, it's a very intuitive answer, but it's just not true. In fact, the answer is that the baseball bat costs $1.05 and the baseball costs 5 cents because the bat is $1 more than the baseball. There you go. And it just seems like it's such an intuitive answer. It's not that you couldn't get the answer. It's not that you're dumb. It's just that your system one brain, it's basically that quick, fast acting, think, like just do brain
Mm-hmm.
that just says, okay, that's $1, that's 10 cents. It's not that you couldn't get the answer. It just says you have to reuse system two instead, which is the more methodical, more calculated, more thinking. So what people sometimes don't realize is that system one is not useless. Like it's quick thinking and like just do, that's often associated with like lack of intelligence, it sometimes feels like. And that's not necessarily true. Like if I want to do nair up smash as Fox, am I really going to think, okay, I have to nair, I have to dash forward, I have to use my fingers to then press up and A to do up smash?
Yeah.
No, I just do nair up smash. Like there's not thought behind that. There shouldn't be thought behind that. In fact, if there is thought behind that, you're doing something wrong. However, like when I'm starting to think about situations of, okay, after I back air someone's shield, what do I do? Then that's where system two comes in, where you have to start thinking, okay, you have to start juggling options, where you have to say, is my opponent going to do out of shield options? Is my opponent not going to do this? So building up that, so like coming back to the point of tournament nerves and like building up system one and like those fast, quick acting options of like just do it. It's like hitting a button at that point, and like that's easy as heck. So like if you can say, all right, I can kill my opponent just by pressing a button, like that's really easy, and that's something you can rely on in bracket. Like like last hit against a top level player against MK Leo, you need to kill him. I can just press a button to do it instead of thinking, okay, I need to do this sequence. Like no, just press the button. And like building up that system one allows you that rock that like that Zerg was talking about, that rock of just you can rely on it. You can rely on it to carry you through sets, to carry you through bracket, and get your wins. And then that system two is where things can get kind of complicated, and that's what tournament nerves particularly compromises. But if you can prevent it from compromising system one, you're already ahead of the game. And I can speak to this from experience, and like hopefully you guys can too.
And that
If you guys
plays
have that.
into basically what you mentioned, nerves and everything compromise that can compromise system one or system two. And the more comfortable you are with the character, like Yin says, if you stick with the character and you've seen all these scenarios, you've been in all these situations, you're going to be comfortable. So you are just pressing that button, just system one. And then when you get into the more advanced battles of system two, like the nerves aren't there to basically ruin it. That's why, like when I've competed, I've kind of made it an emphasis to stick with Rob. You've all seen me at tournaments. I rarely swap off Rob. Now, I have been practicing a bunch of other characters, but to me, it's just I'm way more comfortable with him, and I don't want to stunt my growth. And it's kind of a comfort pick. I'm not as nervous when I play Rob, so I can just execute.
To boil
No,
that
like,
down,
go ahead.
system one is your autopilot. You're playing
Absolutely.
Game and Watch. Somebody hits your shield. You know to upbeat. It should hit. Your system two is the
You don't even have to hit your shield. Just don't even use your brain. Just up B.
System
Not a
two.
dock on Game Watch players. Just saying. It's a thing.
System
Game
No,
Watch
two
players,
is
if you're not
the
doing this,
All
you
Game
don't
Watch
even have to land
players,
on your shield, and you can
all
just
Game
upbeat.
Watch
Okay.
players should subscribe right now. We love you.
True.
I'm
no,
not
no,
talking
I'm a
Game
Rob
Watch players.
player.
I'm saying you do not need to wait for them to hit your shield. You can just do it.
That's
It's
true, that's true.
crazy. It's so broken.
I'm realizing all of our characters lose to Game and Watch.
Not me, bro.
Huh?
Not me.
No, Steve
I
beats
don't
Game
know.
Watch.
Steve beats Game of Watch.
Dude, that's
Beats
Rob's
me?
worst matchup in the game. I
Oh,
hate
it's
that
Rob's,
team.
it's Pika's, it's arguably Fox's. Like,
It's not. Fox Game Watch is more doable than you might think.
it's
Either way,
bad.
Jin, you had a point.
What
Let's
we
get
got
Point
back
here?
on
is,
track.
number one, system one, that's your autopilot. You hit that upbeat. System two, which only comes from the comfortability with System 1, is the adaptation. The understanding to recognize, all right, this moment, like say, a space forward air from Lucina, from Shulk, I can't upbeat that. And your comfortability with your autopilot allows you to set that aside and add the extra layer of like, okay, if they go for forward air, if they space it safely, I can't upbeat. And that's where the System 2 comes in, is the adaptation. To boil it down for the tournament nerve side of things, this is the in-game. In-game, you should be practicing your different scenarios. Just going to tournaments alone will get you more comfortable, more confident in the different scenarios, and thus making yourself be able to push those nerves off a little bit more. And that's the in-game side of things. But just like we mentioned a little bit earlier with understanding that, hey, just because you're anxious, go ahead and say you're excited instead. There's a lot of out-of-game things. For example, we're going to talk about driving for just a second. Okay. If you don't know, there was a study done on tired drivers versus people who were driving under the influence. Study concluded that drivers who had no sleep in the past 24 hours were by far more dangerous and worse drivers than a driver who was drunk.
Really?
Do
That
we know what
goes
the BAC of drunk was considered to be?
Probably
Was it just
legally.
0.08? 0.08,
I don't know.
I'm guessing.
I don't remember.
You would get
off the top of my
Utah's,
arrested.
head.
Level
Utah's
of
weird
drunk.
with
You would get
0.06, but-
arrested. You would get arrested. Probably
Okay,
not
so let's go with
Utah.
0.08.
At minimum, you would get arrested for driving. But the point is, those different things can completely shift a game. I'm sure Sticky, Risk, Zerg, Zerg maybe not so much. I know you haven't gone to as many majors. But especially when you're traveling out of state, there's a lot of times where, all right, oh, I stayed up a little late hanging out with the guys. Oh no, I didn't quite plan this traveling as much as I should have. You start restricting food, you start restricting sleep, you add a little bit of stress with that traveling. All of a sudden that starts affecting you to some level, to some degree.
Absolutely. Like, first of all, guilty as charged. Risk, you're with me?
No, no.
No? Yeah, it's not like we've traveled together. Anyways, but yeah, there's actually a very, very specific tournament. It's called Edgeguard 2 Fight Fright.
Yeah.
Let's go, Zerg.
So I knew going in that the trip was not planned the best. Housing was a nightmare. About like 2 days before is when I got the hotel. If you're ever going to majors and you're ever planning, plan at least a month in advance. I cannot stress that enough. Planning in advance will make the trip so much easier, so much less stress. I implore you to, if you want to save your tournament runs, honestly. Yen, what are you about to say?
For those of who were complaining about LMBM closing their signups, this is a shot at you. I'm just going to specifically say it. I want to take that shot at y'all.
True.
2 weeks in advance. Shout out. I remember at least one player had already booked their hotel and everything, but hadn't registered. So
People are
whoever
complaining about registration closing 2 weeks in advance.
yeah.
You guys gotta get your act
It wasn't
together. What the
closing.
heck?
It capped about 2 or 3 weeks before,
I
and they
think
were
it's
complaining
3.
about that. Oh, even then. Oh my gosh. Oh no, I booked my hotel and my flight, and it capped 3 weeks before. I've had my
Yeah,
hotel
I
and my
think the
plane.
reason, to be fair, players were complaining was because there was another full week of registration left, and then it just ended up capping. So players thought they could register.
It's
So
capped for the
Yeah.
past
Signed
2-3
up at
years.
least 2 months beforehand.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, Sticky was
back
in
to
the Sticky
story.
was in the notes.
Either way, so obviously, yes, plan ahead. This trip was not planned ahead. So I knew going in. So like we only had one night at a hotel. It was a Saturday Sunday event. Only had one night at a hotel from Saturday to Sunday. That doesn't sound too bad, except that in order to get to the venue, my group had to travel 6 hours to Vegas from around Salt Lake City area.
I thought you were meaning the hotel. I was so confused.
I thought that too.
No. I said to the venue. Did I not say that?
Did you get a hotel in Provo?
Either way, had a hotel in Vegas from Saturday to Sunday, but we had to drive in Saturday and leave Sunday. So that's a problem because that means I'm getting up at like 5 a.m. on Friday night, or basically Friday night. So I knew going in I wasn't going to have much sleep. So I brought something called a Bang energy drink. This was by far the worst decision I've ever made. So I had nerves going in, obviously, but the way I typically deal with those is like I let my mind rest. When I'm tired, my mind does not rest. So, in order to combat what I've perceived to be sleep deprivation, I drank a Bang energy drink. And I was jittery the entire day, and I lost matches I felt like I shouldn't have. And keep in mind, I basically took this Bang just to try to quell tournament nerves because I thought, okay, I'm not going to be able to get enough sleep, in my opinion. I don't think I'm going to really get any. So I'll bring this, and thus problem solved, right? No, first of all, never buy Bangs. That's a terrible idea. What are you doing? Put that away. Secondly, like this is the importance of like having enough sleep and being able to take care of yourself to the point where you can be a stable person and think about, okay, tournament time, it's time to get going. I'm going to do my typical ritual to try to calm myself down before this match, and I'm going to win. Shu, if you're watching this, I don't know if you ever will, but I don't think I should have lost to you. I'm going to be straight up.
Oh, the caught.
Money match me. No, I'm not going to. I'm not that
I
good.
will
But
say,
Yeah, you're not that
no,
good.
I don't
no
feel like I
shots to
should have
Bang.
lost.
Bang Energy, if you want to sponsor, let us know. I love Blue Raz. Also, Jack
Sponsor
Owak,
Ying.
CEO of Bang Energy. Let me tell you, I love how you dress. I'll send you a photo so you can put
So
it in
one
the edit if you
question
want.
I have for Bane Energy: why does it have 3 times the amount of caffeine as a Red Bull? So
It's
Sticky
300
brought
To wake you
milligrams.
up. It's to wake you up.
300?
Sticks to kill you.
yeah, it's like
Look at
3 times the
me.
amount. It's over 300 with creatine in it, like a really
Hey,
strong.
hey. Super creatine. They aren't getting sued by PepsiCo for no reason here. All right.
Okay. Yeah, but Sticky brought me one as well. So I actually went down the night before with TJ
He
Fatty
went down with
and
me.
Red K, and I slept the night in Vegas, so I was feeling pretty good in the morning. I had myself like 2 or 3 cups of coffee to wake up, so I already had quite a bit of like caffeine in me, and I felt good. Sticky got there, he's like, "Oh, I bought these Banes since they were cheaper than the tiny Red Bulls." Since I just asked for one of those to sip on. I didn't know how strong it was. So I ended up drinking most of mine in like 30 minutes during our doubles. And then, yeah, I didn't know. Uh, and literally the entire
This
next
Rob
day,
is going as fast as Fox.
yeah, I ended up doing terrible in singles since I could not stop my hands from shaking. And all those tournament nerves I had, usually, like Sticky says, I deal with them with talking to people. Well, I felt like I was hyped up on something. I could not control myself. And then so when I was playing in singles, I felt like I just wasn't confident in anything. So unless you can really handle energy drinks or like caffeine in general, I would advise not to drink those before tournaments, or they can make your nerves way worse. Since that
Yeah.
might be
On
one of the worst tournaments
on
I've.
also another, sorry,
What?
on another level, a way to analyze this is that caffeine impeded my ability to use System 2 of my brain.
Yeah.
Calling back to that idea, like I felt when like I was playing a Bowser Jr. player, Just Omega. If you're watching this, shout out. But during
He'd
that
whoop
match,
you
I knew
too. He'd destroy you just like shit.
I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
what
it.
you're
I'm gonna
talking
mess.
about. I did eventually pull through, but during that entire match, I was like, okay, in order to beat Bowser Jr., you pretty much have to camp. So I was like, okay, I'm going to camp. But I physically could not restrain myself from just going, I want this to be over. I want this to be over. This to be over. I felt like I was dying
I
from
want it
this
there.
caffeine. It's like I wanted it to be over, and I ended up like doing way worse than I ever would have wanted to. I managed to restrain myself enough to take the set, and like just to show you, like I knew what I was doing. I played Just Omega again at Genesis, and I washed him pretty well. So like it really does in caffeine. It's a double-edged sword. Like it can help you through those tough times, but at the end of the day, you have to take it seriously because it will impede your system too, and you will go 2-2 at a major or even 0-2. I don't know. Honestly,
Yeah.
take your
Well,
pick.
It's the understanding of your body, your mind, and like what you need to eat diet wise. Okay.
Mhm.
So, for example, I'm hypoglycemic. That sounds absolutely horrendous because,
Mm.
medical terms are all as long as possible to make you sound like you're dying. It just means I have to eat. If I don't eat often enough, I get I get shakes. It's not too bad right now, but I get shaky and then I get lightheaded and I could pass out. Now, given two of those, obviously I want to avoid, but even just the shakiness. If I'm holding my controller, oh, what am I calling? Sorry. If I'm holding my
Those of you
controller,
can't see, he's pulling out his controller.
well, I mean, my camera's here.
Not everyone's listening.
Well, no, I mean
We
it's
have
a
Yeah.
we
podcast.
love
Like
our
people are meant to
audio
listen
only
to it, not to
listeners.
watch it.
Oh yeah, true. I pulled out my controller, but if I'm holding my controller and I'm jittery, I'm shaky, and my thumb is loose, all of a sudden I like start slipping, and my thumb is like halfway up onto the stick. And even if I'm not playing Pikachu, who I'm going to be playing, chances are, all of a sudden I'm messing up inputs. And I need to find a moment, like I need to go to ledge just to reset my hand grip. I'm losing that set. Like there's no question if, and so just that awareness to like, all right, I need to eat before bracket. I just don't get that choice, which means, all right, I need to plan out the extra time so that when me and Noah are driving down to local 45 minutes away, we can stop at Popeyes and get that chicken sandwich.
Yeah, I
It
completely
takes an
agree. You gotta take care of yourself in any way you can. We have we've talked a lot about like the physical, taking care of your body as well as just taking confidence in your preparation. What I like to talk more about, sort of think about the mentality of tournament nerves, how to deal with them. Preparation is super important, but it's really a mentality issue at the end of the day. We do have a lot of questions about how to deal with mentality, how it affects you on a survey that we're actually doing. I wanted to bring this up just in the middle of the podcast right here. You can check in the description of the video. We have a survey talking about improvement habits, mentality questions, just sort of tracking what works for players, what doesn't. We're eventually going to be doing down the line a video or a podcast episode rather, analyzing what we see there, what we see is really works for players in terms of mentality and getting them results. So yeah, you should all definitely fill that out. Maybe you can fill it out while we're listening to it. Just a quick Google form, takes about 2 minutes. We'd really appreciate it. We want to get a lot of responses. But back to the topic at hand, mentality, how you can go in, what your perspective is to help deal with tournament nerves. Something I'll tell a lot of players is if you lose a set, because that's what a lot of tournament nerves is. I really don't want to lose, right? Losing can feel really bad, especially if you build it up to be a super big thing.
Mhm.
But if you're playing a game at a local, let's say you're not even doing for a prize. Actually, no. Let's say you are doing it for the prize pot, right? So you're playing for third, losers finals, and you lose. You get like 20 less dollars maybe, and then by the like a year later, 4 months later, 2 minutes later, it stops mattering, right? A lot of people have this idea. I don't know if it comes from just what the sort of perception is about like pro level Smash, or just how people look to athletes and sports and how they, sort of deal with this type of thing. But a lot of people just think losing is the worst thing in the world. And it really isn't. At a local level, sometimes you play a set and you really want to win, and winning is great. I don't want to say winning's not great, but not winning, it really is not the biggest thing. And so many people are so scared to lose that they just can't help but losing. It's counterproductive. It's a really weird mentality, but just people don't always make that connection that like like if you care about losing less. I mentioned the poll because I was reminded of it. I was looking at some of the poll answers, organizing some of it, and what a lot of people said, by a lot of people I mean like 4 to 6, so a decent amount of people, more than you think, said I improved a lot. Like my biggest spike of improvement was when I stopped caring about winning and losing. Like 10% of the people about said that, which was like that was way more than I thought. I think we just got lucky with the sample size because that's really incredible. But I think that's worth talking about. I don't know if you guys share that same perspective, but like losing is
Definitely,
not the
like,
worst thing. You have to get rid of that mentality if you want to climb.
the way I look at winning and losing is like you want to try to rationalize it. Like you don't ever want a win to feel like you don't ever want a win to mean more to you than it should. And you never, and that goes for losses too. Like say you're say like to a lot of our younger audience, this definitely probably applies to you. But I got distracted by risk there for a second. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, he's a
Um
little too handsome today. Sorry.
just but like rationalizing your losses just means like say you're about 13, 12, which is a reasonable age for a lot of Smash competitors at this point. And say you on average go about 2-2, maybe an occasional 3-2, 4-2 if you have a really good bracket. Like once if you ever like lose your winners round 1, like you don't really need to worry about it because even if you're going 4-2, your chances are you're not PR level in your state or even your region. So at this point, like if your main goal is to get PR, like chances are people will kind of notice it, but someone else might look at your bracket and say, "Oh, so and so lost round 1." It doesn't really matter at that point. Like so that's why I say rationalize your losses because like if you do lose your round 1 and like yeah, that feels terrible that maybe you even go 0-2 that tournament. Chances are you're fine. Like even then, your goals are not impeded. Um, no one is gonna make fun of you for it. And like I hate to say it this way, but people will somewhat expect it, which is why they won't really say anything to you. Like they'll say, "Oh, this guy went 0-2.
It
What a shame."
happens.
Yeah, happens. Maybe you got matchup checked. Maybe you got less than optimal seating. That's fine. But again, like rationalizing your losses like this can make them feel a lot less significant. And because in a way that loss really is insignificant. It's not like I said, it's not impeding your long-term goals. Like you could be MK Leo in 2 years from now, and is anyone going to remember when you went 0-2 at your
Yeah.
local in Kansas? I hate to put it that way,
I
but
mean,
you
depends.
see what
If
I'm
Leo
saying,
does it
right?
right now, everybody remembers that.
Well, if anything, though,
Again, that's after the fact. Like, right?
That's lit.
It's kind of an in the moment thing where it's just
No, your
does it
point.
really matter in the long term? You
It
could
doesn't.
get better in 3 months. All of a sudden, you're never going 0-2 ever again.
Mhm.
All right, great. You've raised your skill floor. Now I'm never going 2-2. Raise your skill floor, and like that's how progression happens.
Yeah.
So like losses like that are you can rationalize them, and they won't feel as bad because they won't impact your long-term goals. And that's a really powerful thing to have. That's a very mature thing to have even. Because like sometimes people will go 0-2 and they'll go, "Oh, I'm done with this game." And those people will leave the room and you're still here. Think about
if
that.
anything, though, like kind of touching upon what both you and Zurich said, is it doesn't matter in the long term. And like you said, Zurich, I feel like people's primary goal, if they do want to improve and get better, shouldn't be about winning or losing. It should be about getting better every single set. So no matter if you lose, you should be focused on improving during that set. You lose, okay, you might have got hit by Rob Gyro Nair 0 to death or Rob Gyro down toss at ledge into downer. And you might have never seen that setup before. And you might be tilted completely afterwards. But as long as you have a good mentality, a good mindset, and you're like, okay, I'm here to learn. You can learn from it. So you lost. Anything in life, you have to fail to succeed first. All the pro athletes, whether it be in the NFL, the NBA, MLB, any other esports, so say League of Legends, Call of Duty, Rainbow Six, Rocket League, Smash Bros, like all these pros, they've all lost. They've all failed in life. Even successful businessmen and the Fortune 500 CEOs, they failed before too. You have to fail to succeed. So everyone has to lose to win at some point. And I think the best mentality is having that mentality to learn, win or lose. We're just here to learn. Now, of course, some losses aren't built different. Say if you lose at a major, uh, like right before you break through, like that's going to sting a bit. But again, if you're there with a mentality to learn, you can improve. one of my favorite players is Apollo Kage, and I think he has one of the best mentalities out of any top
Yeah,
player. It's win or lose, he's just there to learn. Like
that's
you
the
see him
goat
after he
right there.
lost to Big D. After he
Small
lost to Big
story on
D,
Apollo
he kept
Kage.
asking
Like
him for tips, even though he lost the matchup. Snake should never lose, but he wasn't even upset about it. Like to get better, we all need to have that mentality. We're not here to win; we're here to improve. And once you improve, then you'll win.
I think a funny analogy is like say you're sailing through a storm and you want that pretty little bird to land on your boat. So, this is a very weird, very abstract analogy. If you can
All
get
right.
it, you're 3,000 IQ. But like say that little bird represents success. Say it represents you finally beating that PR player or whatever. Like, and you're sailing through a storm trying to get that bird to land on your boat because it's a cool bird, right? So you try to sail towards it, like you row your boat or you hoist the sails to try to get over there to try to get the bird to land on your boat. The bird never will though, because it's storming outside. The goal is to actually navigate your boat out into cleaner waters where it'll eventually land on your ship. So like it's a very weird
Okay,
analogy.
what books
Let
have
me
you been
explain it.
reading recently, bro?
But let me
All right.
contextualize that a little bit. So what I'm trying to say is that your goal should not be trying to get that win. It should be more on improving.
Getting that
Yes.
So
bird.
so like so winning, like the path to winning would be to sail your boat directly towards the bird, right? But the path towards like improvement is sailing out into cleaner waters. And that's when the bird, which is your success, will finally land. It's a weird concept. It's very abstract.
Okay, I
I
gotta
kind of
You
know. I
guys
follow.
are
gotta
why
know
are
where
you
you got
laughing
this
at me?
from.
Come
I
on.
kind of
We are
follow. I
laughing
kind
at
of
you.
follow.
Hey, Sticky, this
The-
is why we love you. This is why we have you in this podcast.
All right.
So
100%. Does it
here,
make sense though?
hold up,
Yeah.
sir, because
I
I know you're
love the
gonna take it away.
poetic.
Like
Yeah, what you
I
got?
Spitting scripture.
I
so
wish I could give a more
here
clear analogy, but that's the best I got.
I got one
here's the
after.
way to treat Smash. Okay, when we're learning at a young age, it's normally from school or from parents. The reason why we know what to learn is because we're told what to learn. For a game like Smash, it's not that simple. Okay. Instead of being told what to do, and this is kind of why we'll look to other people and we'll try, like, that's probably why you're watching this right now, is because you want to know what you should be working on, what you should be learning. Okay. And now we are here to generalize. And that's how most podcasts, that's how most resources, that's how YouTube, Banana Boy, Smash University, Tweet Talks, that we're all generals. And so it's very hard to get specific unless you know what to look for. And so instead of looking to say school to tell you what to do, what you can look at is your losses. Okay. Those losses, more than anything else, will define what you did wrong, at least in the most obvious way. Now, given you could get a one on one coach, and this can do the same thing for you. I know from my own experience, from other players' experiences, I'm sure you could talk to Zerg, you could talk to Sticky, Risk about this. VOD reviewing and coaching does a lot for this, but you could also do this for yourself, where you see a loss, and instead of just taking it as like, I just generalizing and just, I didn't understand that matchup, get specific with it. All right, what did you not know? Were you struggling to find your hidden neutral? Were you struggling to avoid specific options of theirs? Were you struggling to get off ledge? Were you having an issue getting kills? And that's where you start delving into that, because now you've acknowledged what topic it is you need to learn. And now you can start doing the study. You can start doing the research. You could ask that player right after the loss. All right, for this scenario, like, I really struggled to get off ledge. What did you find that was really hurting me here? If it's a character specific thing, like, all right, how do I avoid, Pikachu Teedle? Go into the character discords. Like, if you play Youngling, go into your Youngling Discord. Ask those players, how do you get around this option? And so utilizing your losses instead of just seeing them as a loss and seeing them as a learning experience starts to push you forward farther and farther.
kind of to elaborate on that, I feel like it kind of has to do with setting good goals for yourself. So, like, and honestly, getting into these sort of discussions kind of describes why fighting games or esports in general can actually teach you really cool life lessons like you never thought they could. So, like, this kind of has to do with, like, in my opinion, setting good goals. So, like, an acronym that's commonly used is SMART goals,
Smart.
SMART. So there's specific. Your goals have to be specific, measurable, actionable. What's R
Attainable,
again?
Relevant
Re-
or relevant.
Relatively
attainable,
re-
relevant, time.
relevant and constrained or like
Time
time
bound.
dependent, something like that.
Smart.
So say you want to beat that PR player. Well, in order to make your goal smart, in order to be specific, well, you can beat that PR player, right? Like obviously like this is very abstract
I got you,
and it
Sticky.
will
I got you.
you got it. Okay.
Using a SMART goal, for example, let's say I enter into next year. Okay. At this point, me, myself, my peak has been top 70. I have gotten top 30 wins. Okay. So if we're going specific, okay, let's say I want to get a top 20 win now. Okay. Now that's already specific and that's measurable. Okay. We already know what I want to do and it's very specific. Now, next up is attainable. Well, considering I have beat top 30 players in the past, top 20 isn't that much farther. So that's something that I can do. Now, oh my gosh, are related. It's related to Smash, and then T is timed. Well, I kind of put a general note on there. So instead of just, all right, beat a top 20 player, beat a top 20 player by the end of this next season. Now, there's a couple of reasons why you put a SMART goal in line. One, the attainability is important to that. Okay. If you're constantly just putting goals out that, like, ooh, I want to become a PR player. Well, is that attainable right now for you? You know, it's okay to put those small steps in progress. That gives you something to work on to move up towards that. And so that's where the time part comes into it. Okay. So maybe you can be a PR player, but maybe not right now. So, like, all right, I want to aim to be in contention for BR by, like, say, the end of the year or whatever. You set those goals out. That way they're very specific and they're close enough in reach where even if you miss it, you're forcing yourself to get progress. You have your mind focused and honed in on that. And then, like, even the, like, top 30 win, that's not, or like top 20 win, PR player, those are very broad. We can also talk about something a little bit more short term. Like, all right, this week, I want to perform this combo 3 times in bracket. Now, all of a sudden, you have that specific thing that you're acknowledging and you start working on. And that hones you in and allows you to not only practice and learn, but a more focused practice. And it starts putting itself in your mind a lot more solidly. The more effort you take into an action, the more synapses you are firing off in your brain. Sorry to get a little bit more scientific. We've done that a couple of times today.
Synapses, by the way.
I'm going to pronounce it the white American
Wow,
way.
he got
Synapses.
wow.
The more the more synapses that you fire off in your brain, the more solidified it becomes within your muscle memory.
I mean,
I
the
mean,
reason
I
why we're
could
bringing
get
this up is like, sorry,
synapses. It's
we're
synapses. I promise.
okay. I'll take your word for it. This how this relates to tournament nerves and getting over that. It's just sort of encompassing a growth mindset, which is really what we're talking about with just playing to improve rather than playing to win. It really alleviates a lot of the pressure that people put on themselves. Once you realize that, like, essentially all of the pressure that you're feeling is self-imposed, you could physically just like go to a tournament, not have any expectations, and do fine. There's actually a player in our scene in Utah, TJ Fatty. He had the viewer question last week, and he tried like try harding, getting really good at Smash for a while, Then he eventually decided, I just want to like go play and have fun. And he's actually gotten much better since then. He doesn't always try super hard, but when TJ Fatty is like actually trying to, he's gonna hate me for
When
saying
he's
this
on, he's
because
on.
he doesn't want to be a good player. That's why he stopped trying. He's like, I don't want all that expectations on myself, which is fair. You know, you gotta do it in the way that works for you. But when TJ's actually trying, he's like actually like top 30 in Utah. If you know, you know. If you don't know, this maybe sounds crazy. But like the reason why
He
he was
always
able
just
to do
asks me to
that,
random ditto.
he asked you to random it, or you're gonna ask him.
He just asks me to random ditto whenever I play him.
Yeah, he'll do whatever when he pulls out his Yoshi or when his plant's feeling it. But like just taking the pressure off yourself. He's thinking less and caring less about improving. But like what's more important, even though it seems like that would not help him improve as much, taking off the pressure made him improve more than not caring about winning did, which is kind of crazy. But like when you look at other players, that's not too out of the ordinary. Like when you take that pressure off yourself, that's when you can really start to make some progress. So many people are just stuck by self-imposed like notions about I have to get good, I have to like get top 100 in my state within a year. I played for like 2 years and I didn't even get like top 150, but like players will come into the scene now and think like I have to get good within 3 months or I'll never be there. It's just crazy. There's so much self-sabotage with tournament nerves, with mentality, with goals, with all of this. It's
Well,
that's why we're
with
here.
that,
That's why we're here.
yeah. Well, with that point, it brings up something I've been thinking about. It's like I feel like whenever anyone starts competing, they don't really have tournament nerves, or they don't really have a problem with mentality, which is a
I
weird thing to
disagree
think.
actually. When they
Well,
first
I
start
guess
It
competing,
depends on what they want going in,
yeah,
honestly.
it depends what type of player they are. It
yeah.
is all personal. But as
Okay.
someone who's competed in Indiana and Utah, or I guess
Sorry.
going back to my personal experience when I started competing, I showed up at my first indie local. I went about like 3-2. I didn't pick up like any PR wins or anything like that. But to me, it's like, oh, I'm just having fun. Then I went 2-2 the next week and I didn't really care. And I was just going and having fun. I didn't really start getting nervous until I started approaching PR or getting close to beat PR players. And then once I started beating them, my nerves went away. But then once I started reaching higher up, the nerves came back, since then I felt like there was a pressure or an expectation to perform. So in a weird way, I feel like nerves are very much tied to, and like with your mentality, are tied to what expectations you're putting on yourself, or what does
Oh,
other
totally.
your peers think you have. So like if there's a graph, if we were to do a graph, I feel like at the beginning, based on let's put skill level on the bottom and nerves on top. At first, I feel like as lower your skill, the nerves are less. As you go higher, the nerves get way higher as you reach that middle point of skill. And then it starts going back down the better you get. And that's why top players, I don't think, suffer. They don't allow nerves to like affect their play as much. So the graph kind of goes like that, kind of like a hill in a weird way, since like the better you slowly become, the more nerves you get, the more expectations you put on yourself. But then once you learn how to deal with that, you improve to get better, but then you slowly get less and less nerves because you've been there before, you've seen situations, you've already had bad tournaments, so you know another bad tournament isn't going to kill you. And so the nerves slowly start to disappear again. I don't know. I always thought that was a very interesting way to look at it. And I guess in my experience, I didn't develop nerves when I first started competing. It wasn't until I started getting a little bit taste of success I
Hmm.
started getting nerves.
Remember, like if that taste of success can drive you to give yourself tournament nerves, that's a good thing. That means the taste is
Mwah.
very good.
Well, in a
Having
way,
success, it's a genuine thing. It's
yeah.
very it feels amazing. Like, and
Well,
I
we've
feel
been
like everyone
talking
should
about
experience it.
nerves almost like it's a bad thing, but if anything,
Yeah, yeah.
tournament nerves are a
It's
great thing.
it is a bad thing, but it's a sign of a
It's
good
a
thing.
good
Yeah,
sign. Yeah, it's
it
a good
means we
sign.
care. It means we
Yeah.
all care and we want to be better. We want to be good. That's why we get nervous. We care. And that's a beautiful thing.
If you
Yeah.
have
Hold it
nerves,
dearly.
love yourself.
But stop sucking. Stop going 2-2. Tear those barriers down.
Yeah, if you
So
go
much
0-2 one more
True.
tournament, I'm never gonna talk to you again. So if you
Yeah,
do that
if you
again,
go 0-2, we're gonna
yeah,
block you. Fun
we're gonna
fact.
block you. Yeah.
Actually,
No, it's all self-imposed at the end of the day. That's what I really want to like send home. I think we talked a lot about a lot of good aspects of dealing with nerves, both in terms of preparing in that game, taking care of yourself, the mentality, like why get nervous in the first place. Just to sort of wrap up here, what are the like? Let's have a one paragraph summary. What are the takeaways here? What do you guys think, Yin? I think you have a really nice way of putting things. If you had to like put a summary on today's discussion, what would you say?
there are a couple of specific points to handling your mental. Number one, just practice. The more you play, the more comfortable, the more confident you get, less nervous you'll be. Number two, take care of yourself. This includes your body. Make sure you get plenty of sleep. Eat right based on your health needs. And of course, that goes into number three, take care of your mind. Make sure you're in a good place and you're able to control that scenario. And number four, to finish it up, don't focus on the win and the loss. Don't focus on the long term. You're here for the moment. Focus on that.
I guess I'll go second. Number one is just, again, don't focus on the win or losses. We're here to learn. So no matter what, no matter the outcome, first and foremost, if you want to get better, learn. And number two, really focus on how tournament nerves, it's a natural thing. It's a natural human feeling. We're all going to have it. Every player's experienced it. So don't let it control or make you feel disheartened. Know that it's something everyone's gone through. It's an experience we've all had. And the best solution for it is actually time. The more you're there, the more you deal with it, the more situations you see, the better it'll get. And as long as you can keep pushing through it and you don't let it control you, it'll get better. I promise it will get better. So yeah, don't be there to learn and just keep pushing through it.
If I guess it's my turn. If I had to put a nice pretty bow on it on this whole discussion, number one thing is that you just need to think about the game. Just you don't need to pressure yourself. You can do all this changing of expectations. You can train so much that you have so many things on your system one that you can just kill, damage. You can do all that and still have tournament nerves. My last recommendation is sometimes you need to just prove to yourself that you can do it. Stick it out, and at one point, like you'll be climbing up this hill, up and up and up and up and up. Once you get over that hill, once you crest that hill, once you beat that PR player, once you make that bracket run, you're going downhill now. And all of a sudden, you can now say to yourself with clarity that you can do it. And I guarantee, like once you get to that point, your tournament nerves will start to go away, and it's honestly crazy. Like if especially if you're climbing up that hill right now, it's hard to think about. But once you crest that peak, it just starts fitting into place, and I promise it'll start fitting into place. And that's pretty much all I have to say on tournament nerves. If none of this works, literally just suck it up and do it once, and then you'll get better at it.
Yeah, stop going 2-2. Break the barrier.
Yeah.
Of course, like you want to be more methodical about it than that. Like you don't want to just keep running yourself into a wall. But if you can just prove to yourself once that you can do it, it'll start falling into place.
I like walls.
I promise I like walls in terms of Smash more than all of you guys combined. I build like 50 per game. I'm all about breaking down walls. Sticky just jumps over them. What the heck?
You don't like
It's
those
not
walls.
fun doing that. I'll have you know.
It's
Don't
scary.
worry, I don't
That's
have fun
why I
either.
fear them.
Well,
All right.
yeah, just to sort of say my 2 cents here, it's all in your head, all this pressure. Just I probably should have mentioned this before. Just go real quick mention this. A lot of people in the Smash community, it's kind of wild. Maybe it's just because we're a bunch of adult children, but a lot of people have this thought that they cannot change how their mind works They like if they feel a certain way, it's like, oh, I just have to deal with this stress and this emotion, the salt and all of this, and I can't actually do it. You can change everything about how you perceive the game in terms of mentality, in terms of in-game stuff, how you observe information. You just have to do it. You have to believe in yourself that you can make the change that you want to see. This is way too motivational for the vibe that we're going. You guys know what I mean.
Well,
Yeah, no, I
either
think we had a
way,
really good episode here.
I feel like
Go.
I believe we want to get into our viewer question
We do.
segment,
Yes.
and I believe Risk Taker has that prepared for us
Mr.
today.
Viewer
What do you
question.
got?
Yep, I got a viewer question. So the viewer question is coming from a dear friend of mine that I used to compete against when I very first started competing. Fun fact, he actually beat me at my first ever Indiana local. So his tag is Apple, or better known as
Shout
recently,
outs to Apple.
Oh,
Almighty. So he is
You
a
change his
PR
tag?
Snake player, top 3 in Indiana. And the question he brought us is, what are some of the most underrated characters in Smash Ultimate? Now, I think all of us are going to give about 2 characters. So,
Yeah,
Yin,
that
if you
works.
want to start us off, you handsome lad.
Yin's ready to go.
I have been saying this
I already know
for
what this is gonna be.
so long. I have said this character is better than their Echo. I have said this character is top 20.
Don't say
Marth.
Crom.
Marth. Not Crom.
Marth.
Marth. Marth has been better than
That was
Lucina.
not what I was
All y'all are
expecting.
too lazy. No, 100% Marth. Marth is, I think, the most underrated character. So many top players, so many mid-level players, PR, everybody puts this character in like bottom 15, bottom 20, mid tier. This character's top tier. This character's better than Lucina. Been better than Lucina before Leo. I have receipts to prove I've been saying this for a year. Number 2, Meta Knight. That character's nutty. Look,
Yes.
oh my gosh. You're telling me a character that can kill you at 0 off of dash attack, off of grab, that has some of the best edge guarding in the game, that has some really good neutral. Like that character's broken. That character's insane. And he has a decent matchup spread against some of the best characters in this game.
His down B is a get out of jail free card where if you want to punish it,
Pretty
you have to
much.
get.
Dude, Downbe's a free 50-50 in neutral. All you have to
Neutral.
all right, you have to shield and you have to shield and respect it. You don't know if I'm swinging or not. If I don't swing, there's no lag.
Can you just full up?
You can,
I
but then
still
you
hit
lose
you.
damage.
I still hit you because you could go up with
it's
it.
more useful to get out of disadvantage than
Yeah, I don't
neutral,
know
in my
about
opinion.
neutral, bro. That might just
It
be
is.
you.
It is
That
still
might
a
just be
Neutral
you.
is a little bit
But
shaky. It's on shakier ground. but-
no. It's on shakier ground, but you do have to respect it because all I have to do is pull the trigger once, and you're dead at what?
100.
Just down throw prepper and he died to
Character's
like
crazy.
60, bro.
Yeah.
Character's
That's simple.
crazy.
No, I agree. If anyone disagrees with Meta Knight, I give them advice. Visit the land of SoCal.
SoCal says way too many
Yeah, if you don't
Knights.
think Meta Knight's
They're
good,
all
you will
there.
not last long in SoCal.
No. I actually spent like 2 hours at main stage actually sticky gnosis as I was holding up like him,
Yeah.
AK Quinn, Kronos, like we were all gonna go get dip food, and I was grinding against 2 Meta Knights with my Piranha plant.
Plant actually beats that character, by the way.
Yeah.
True.
It's one of Meta
Pick up
Knight's worst
plant.
matchups. Like, not even joking.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah,
It's-
Rob just straight up loses to Meta Knight, like, pretty
Yeah.
badly, since he's one of the easiest characters just for them to ladder
combo.
combo. But Plant, because of his gravity and, like, way, you can easily SDI, get out of it, and then, like, because he has kind of a noodle of a sword, if he tries to ever do anything against you, you just pop Patui in it, and you just win the trade, like, every time.
I'm gonna look
But
up the
character's still
roster on
pro.
my phone so I can get ready. I have like one of mine.
Well,
Alright, let's
Risk
see.
Taker, I'm ready to hear you talk about how Plant is underrated.
Here we go.
That was actually not the one I was going to go, although I do think Plant is mid tier. I have 2 other characters I have been saying are broken for the longest time, and I've always gotten pushback. My first one is
I know.
Bayonetta.
Bayonetta?
Yep.
Bayonetta is so dumb, and I know
Yeah.
now she might not be as underrated, but
She
since I've
was
started
heavy
competing
underrated.
and about a year and a half ago, I've been saying Bayonetta was busted. People used to like a year and a half ago put her in mid tier or low tier. Now look what Bloom Forever's doing. Look what Lima's doing. Look what Despate.
Garun
All these
Abbey.
Bayo players are showing up in the woodwork. I think this is kind of like the Meta Knight or Marth effect as well that you mentioned. There's so many characters in this game just because they weren't as baby easy and broken as they were in Smash 4, people just immediately thought they were bad. If anything, they're just hard and different in Ultimate. But that character is still stupid. If you don't believe me, just watch Lima and Bloom Forever. The other character is Sora. Since Sora got released,
Yes.
I've been saying this character's borderline top 15. I watched Zachary beat Kome, beat Shuton, beat everyone with his 1 week Sora. Now the counter argument is, oh, no one knew the matchup because Sora was new. Well, Zachary only had 1 week to grind Sora, and he still wasn't doing optimal combos. Now look what Kameme's doing with that character, or a bunch of other people who are slowly picking up Sora. Technically, Sora can just zero to death you almost anywhere from stage. Has one of the best recoveries, and with their aerials, how they have 3-piece jabs, 3-piece F tilt, 3-piece nair, 3-piece fair. They have so many mix-ups they can just do and just drift around you. And the main reason I also think Bayo and Sora are both underrated is those two characters destroy Rob, and no characters that are bad beats Rob that bad.
He
Like to
does got
beat
a point.
Rob that insanely terribly, you have to be at least high tier. You have to at least be good to be
Basically,
able to
what Risk is saying, to destroy a top 10 character, you have to be a
top
really
15.
strong character.
Top 15. But yeah, so
Right.
Bayo and Sora, I've been touting how broken they are, and I'm so happy now you're starting to see people
Like
tweet
Fox.
about
Fox
how
beats
broken they
both of
are.
them pretty badly
So,
too.
Yeah, Fox bias.
Dude, Fox is underrated.
True. All right,
all right,
I know what you
Sticky.
guys are about to say. All right, in terms of my underrated characters, personally, I did have to think kind of hard about this one. Well, actually, one of them came to me kind of quickly, but
Me so
I'm gonna say Mega Man. Mega Man is
That's a good one. That's a
so
good one.
so stupid. Like, yes, you could characters have moves that beat pellets, and they still lose to Mega Man. Like
I
that
hate
character
Mega
is
Man.
Pelts aren't even that
it
good. That's the crazy thing.
No, they're
Pelts are
stupid. They are
against
good.
Rob. They're really stupid.
I just
All
went
right.
through a
What was
traumatic
that face?
experience with the Mega Man, so
Either
don't
way,
mind me.
let me go on. I let you guys talk. So Mega Man has all the tools that you realistically need to be a good character in this game. Like I could get into in depth of like what makes a good character, but in short, he's a heavy character, which it can only be good. He has a pretty decent recovery. It's very hard to mess with. He has all the projectiles you could ask for. He has solid disjoints, and he has plenty of kill confirms. Not to mention, like going beyond that, it's like item play with Metal Blade. You have like Leaf Shield, which is just bull crap in general. Like this character has a lot of stuff, and like finally is starting to get some results. Like MG3, I believe Apex was it? Is it Apex? MG3 did that. It was glitch regen.
Yeah, but MPG.
MPG.
MPG been doing
MG3. What the
Persistent.
hell?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. MPG and Peanut, they've been getting some really solid results, and I think people are finally starting to realize this character's pretty dang good. And then if I had to give one more, I have the roster up in front of me. I'm gonna go with Toon Link. So,
People think Toon Link's bad.
reason I say this is that like this is definitely one of the more weird ones, and like I genuinely think Toon Link is not very far from being as good as Young Link. Like I'm on that crowd. I'm not even kidding. So obviously this character has its weaknesses. Pretty low range, some difficulty approaching, but they do kind of have some spammable moves. Not as spammable as Young Link's. Again, I do think Young Link is clearly the better character. But Toon Link is faster than Young Link, a little bit heavier. Not really a big argument, so we'll take that away. but in my opinion, Toon Link has better kill confirms. Like they straight up kill earlier than Young Links. Young Links may have more, but they don't start killing till like 120. Zerg, you're laughing a lot.
Laughing at
I'm
Yin.
gonna change my answer. One of my answers for underrated character is Youngling. This character
I knew it!
really underrated.
I knew it!
I forgot about this. I
I'm-
forgot about that character.
I mouthed to the
because I
camera. I
wanted
mouthed
to.
to the camera. You can rewind it. I said, Young Link. He's gonna say Young Link. I knew it,
should
bro.
have. I forgot about this.
Yes.
I'm so-
underrated.
No, shut up, Brisk. This character has safer aerials on shield than Sheik.
Hey, how many
Look it
times
up.
are we gonna
All
steal the mic from
aerials
Sticky
are-
tonight?
All the aerials are just as safe or safer than Cheeks on shield, plus down air into up air. With the platform, you can do another up air. Guess what? You're at 80 off of a safe hit on shield for against a lot of characters. I know it's not always safe, so chat, shut up, okay? Let's be honest. You don't know how to deal with it.
chat.
Let me pop that on your shield, okay?
Sticky.
This character.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, Young Link straight up has better boxing tools, has better aggression, has better recovery than Fox, and yet people consider Fox better.
I thought you were gonna say Young Link.
He did say
Young Link has,
Toon Link.
yeah, Young Link.
No, Toon Link
Young-
has better tools than Fox. I thought he was gonna say better tools than
No.
Young Link. That's why
But
I
no,
was
I
getting
think
ready to rant.
we're asking for underrated. I think Young Link he's generally considered to be a hidden demon, so I don't think that's underrated.
But
per
everybody
se.
puts
That's
him
why
like top 40. That character's top 10. I don't care.
No, that character's
it's not
stupid.
top 10.
I'm a
Definitely
rat.
not top 10.
All
I
right.
will
His
die on
recovery's
that
too
hill.
exploitable. His
That's
neutral is a little bit too linear, and his
I
Fox
think
disadvantage
player.
Young Link's like
bad.
top.
Hey, hold up. Let's pull up the sticky tweet editor of disadvantage isn't a real weakness.
I got plenty of skeletons in the closet. All right.
Yeah,
Either way,
for the rest of the podcast, that's just gonna be over Sticky's camera.
fun fact: that's my most liked tweet, and I don't know how to feel about that.
What? Really?
Mickey was down bad with Wi-Fi, and that's how that came.
That's
Sounds
supposed to be a
about
secret
right.
risk.
No.
Anyways, so just like finish up on my thoughts on Toon Link, why I think he's underrated. He has very good kill confirms. They kill earlier than Toon Link or Young Link. He's faster. He has more trick. In my opinion, he has trickier movement. And yeah, that's basically it. Like this character is pretty. And he has spammable moves up close. Like
Whoa.
straight up spammable. Like,
Dang,
have you
we
seen
just-
that F tilt?
We just lost our monetization over Toon Link. I never
I don't
thought
know
that
what
would
you're
ever
talking
happen.
about. He didn't say the F word.
It's true.
Did I say that?
He
I
said
didn't say-
Mickey,
he did.
Man,
I don't know what
the
you're talking
hatred
about. I'm
coming
pretty
out
sure.
for Toon
Uh,
Link.
I'm pretty sure it said deal feet up. You know.
All right, chat in the comments.
I
Tell,
did say
tell
that,
us what our
didn't
bleep
I?
sound effect should be.
all
I
right.
like
Well,
the- I like the
first
shield break
person-
sound.
Wait. I have an idea. Because Sticky was the one who accidentally broke that rule. It should be Fox's "Hiya" sound.
We'll do one per
True.
person. Let me know. Just
Yeah.
DM me what you want your censorship sound to be.
All right, Zerg. You
All right.
haven't said your characters.
Yeah.
I got mine for sure. One, Lucas. Character's broken. Well, not
Yeah.
broken. He's good. He's really good.
He's strong.
His frame data, like safety on shoot, is incredibly safe. It's weird. His combos are really unorthodox in how they're pieced together, as well as what angles you start them from. That's what I really like about Lucas, that he kind of plays at weird angles and weird positions. Anyway, the double jump cancels there, crazy, super good. He has decent mobility with that, combined with like magnet B reverse, down smash, edge guarding. He just has a lot of stuff. Like the only thing he kind of doesn't have is he doesn't have a burst option, and his range isn't incredible. His range is okay, and it's Ness and Lucas are both like their range isn't too big, but they're still disjoints even though they're small. Meta Knight also kind of fits into that category. It's like a short range sword character.
Yeah.
But no, Lucas, I think he's a really incredible character. I think anyone who really looks into him thinks he's good, but it's just he's not at the forefront. of the
Everybody
meta.
forgets. The ultimate is like too focused on results, so everybody forgets about that character.
Yeah, we'll talk about like perceptions of characters, like results versus theory and stuff in another episode for sure. We should definitely make a combined tier list. Copy, tweak, talk,
I'm
rip it
down.
off. Eventually. My other character, me Brawler, baby! Woo! That's my top tier GOAT. Top 15, maybe top 10. Better
I'm
than
not gonna
Fox.
sugarcoat it.
Literally better than Fox and Mario. I will die on that. Broken combos, broken kill confirms, really good neutral, amazing frame data, some of the best out of shields, and he can switch his move sets. And unlike the other me's, he actually has like a variety of good moves that you can use. You get the command grab.
Gunner has a really
You
good
have the
variety.
cloud
I
up
think
beat.
Gunner has more variety.
No, what? Gunner has way less usable moves. Gunner has like they changed Gunner's playstyle more, but like a lot of them suck. Me Brother has a lot more
It
good moves
changes
than
the
any of
play
them.
style, but like you're sitting there like,
Finish your
okay,
point, finish
I'm
your
mid tier on
Yeah.
each play style.
But how
Yeah.
about me, Sword Fighter?
Me Sword Fighter's trash. Booty butt cheeks character, maybe probably second worst in the game. Gunner's okay actually, but Brawler is really good, and you guys are gonna hear more about me Brawler the more you get to know me. So get used to it. Sticky's
Anybody
already
here-
regretting starting this podcast with me.
Yep.
Um,
You know what?
yeah, you guys know how much I love me Brawler.
Since you're gonna go and post and censor this, I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, let's not get carried away. I don't want that to be a privilege. I want to edit that sound effect once, and that's it.
Hey, I just realized I play the worst character in this chat.
Rob?
No,
Yeah.
shut up.
You're saying
No.
Fox is better than Rob?
You got
No.
Fox.
No,
me,
Rob's better
Brawler,
than
and
Fox.
Pikachu?
What?
Your character has top 3 results.
Fox is
I
the
think
worst
you're sitting in
character.
top
Fox
2
is the worst character in
results.
this call.
Yeah,
Hey,
100%.
all I'm saying is Steve has won a major, Pikachu has won a major, Fox has won a major, Rob has not.
Oh no, solo
Uh,
Rob doesn't get.
Me
period
Brawler hasn't
because-
even gotten to grand
Oh,
finals though, so really Me
I said
Brawler.
I said Steve.
Here's the thing, Rob doesn't get picked up solo by better players. Zomba's great. He's amazing. Top 20 in the world, guaranteed.
Hey, Yin,
But-
that's a lie.
Alright.
MK Layup.
Guys,
Okay.
I
Let's
think
stop
we're
with
losing.
the
I think
Rob
we're losing
code.
retention
They won.
here. Come on, let's play the algorithm. I think today's discussion is wrapped up. We might have a
True.
post show argument on our hands, maybe about
True.
how bad Rob
True.
is. But for today's
Crazy
show,
top
I think that's gonna be it. Yin, you wanna send us off?
Hey yo, make sure to follow your boys, alright? We got Sticky up in the building. Check his Twitter right there under his name. Check out Zerg's right there. This guy is one of the best in state. Both these two GOATs. Risk Taker, he's the best in 2 states right now, only because he's carried by Rob. Top 10 character. Follow that Twitter though. He's goated. And hey, check me out on the mic and down at Twitter right there. Thank you all for watching. Next time, you know what? We're gonna come back just as spicy as ever. Y'all have a wonderful,
We have a
wonderful day.
guest next
Oh,
episode.
we do have a guest.
Yes, before we close,
Ew.
we're right about to close. We have a guest. It is, we're not ready to announce it yet, but I think we're all really
Stay
excited to have them on. Yeah, no, we're trying out for sure. Yeah, sorry, I just really needed to get that out. So,
I forgot
get it
about
up. But
that.
yeah, that's about it,
Ooh.
right?
Yeah, that's everything. Thank you guys for
All right.
watching. Y'all have a wonderful day.
See you later, guys.